And hello everybody, welcome on back to, as promised, a bonus episode of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. We're going to go ahead and pick up as much, if not all, of the rest of the computers and whatnot that we've needed to hack into. So, without further ado, let's jump in and see what we can find. First things first, sticky note. Which I was like, since we're going to be trying to get the rest of those, I'm actually just going to wait until we get all of them so I can read through everything. And let's see. We go boom. There you go. Let's see. Ooh, okay, cool. So we actually get access to like this kind of newer stuff as well. Oh. Alright, off to a wonderful start so far. Okay, you know what? Maybe I just need to get my brain checked. Or just, I guess, go for the larger gaps, because that probably would make my life a lot easier. Ooh. Subject 0.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 37, August 9th, 1981. Host Eileen Bach, DNA sample SB1970.
Open! Good morning, Miss Kurtz. You look well, considering the circumstances. Are you rested? Have you eaten? Your friends are dead, Miriam. Bartel Schink and all his navigators, his Edelweiss pirates, executed for 5 counts of murder.
Just a trial. You must be proud.
There was no need! They were scum! All of them! You hear me? All of you are scum! Scum! Scum!
I see it so clearly now. She didn't break, did they? You have nothing.
Quiet, girl!
You don't have the artifact. If you did, you wouldn't be talking to me at all. Never use lay seat.
I said
Never use lay seat. Never use lay seat. Never use.
Get her out! Get her out! We're losing her! Shut it down! Everything!
Eileen, open your eyes. Can you hear me? Eileen! Eileen!
Power's off! Get the position in here! Step aside, son!
Eileen, talk to me. Can you open your eyes?
Clear!
Oh, God.
No spots!
Doesn't sound like they're doing all that well, I'll be honest.
All right. Notes towards a speech in honor of Dr. Eileen Bach's premature retirement.
Ah, that's what they're calling it nowadays.
When I first learned of Dr. Bach's unfortunate accident, I couldn't help but feel a great sense of loss at... No. Dr. Eileen Bach has and always will be a friend and colleague. When I first learned of her unfortunate accident, I was shocked, of course. To see any friend injured in such a way is deeply upsetting. And to further learn that her injuries were severe enough to force a premature conclusion to her brilliant career, well, I would not wish that fate on anyone. But if there is any solace to be found in her accident, it may be this: that she was injured in service of her research, in service of work that she cherished most dearly. And it is due to her diligence that some of the mysteries of genetic memory have been further illuminated. And while it is true that work on her project, the Surrogate Initiative, as she called it, has been temporarily halted, the copious amount of work she has done over the past 3 years has been incredibly valuable. So while her work has been suspended for the time being, her legacy will most certainly live on.
Oh god, that laugh.
Quiet, Joan! Quiet!
Oh, that was in Vidic's stuff too, huh? Interesting. Alright. So we've got some down here. So I'll grab these ones at the end, and then we'll turn back around and then work our way up. So we got all the ones in the server basement area. Stuff like that's always a lot to take in too, you know? Alright. I still do love just seeing like they did such a good job of making this world feel alive, and it was like, you know, straight up, there's a good chance that 90% of people will just never actually come in here. Because you have to, I believe, finish the game before they unlock everything, and then see, it was like you get your level 3 security clearance and have the game unlocked, and then you have to come over here. And that's when like Sean and Rebecca give you the like, hey, you should do this. Like, we would appreciate you still hacking stuff for us, so. Woo. It's kind of cool that it's like stuff still looks like genuinely well planned out, even if, you know, most people will never ever see it.
So, this will be a short one, Dad.
Ooh.
Something to remember me by if things go south. If I don't make it out of the temple today. I've tried to be optimistic about all this, but I just can't. I think spending all this time in Connor's memories has made me anxious. I mean, his story is so painful in so many ways. Still, he never lost hope. Even when his faith in others eroded. I can only believe that what we are doing is the right thing. That I can stop this disaster. I know this. I mean, the technology is there, waiting for us to use it. I'm the final piece of the puzzle. Something in my genes, or my memories. Some final piece of code to switch the whole thing on. That's why I'm here. That's why they brought me here. Only, I don't know what I'll have to give up in return. My sanity, my life, it's impossible to say. I do know this. Our battle with the Templars will not be over. But whatever's inside that temple is not an ending. It's just another chapter in this endless story. And it'll be your job, and Mom's, and Sean's, and Rebecca's, to keep turning the pages. You know, I keep thinking about something Orson Welles once said. Something like, if you want a happy ending, it all depends on where you stop telling your story. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's how people keep something goes wrong in there, Dad, something happens to me. When you tell my story years from now, please tell them the one about how I lost my way. And then I found it again. Just in time to save the world. And just end it there. That'll keep everyone smiling. Goodbye, Dad. Say hello to Mom. Tell her I love her, okay? Tell her I love you both. I love you both.
God. Holy shit, dude. Like, just the fact that... So it was like... It makes such a good point, too, because you know that Desmond in 3 is like... It's interesting because you don't really get as much of that detail during it, but it makes sense that he kind of goes into it expecting, like, it's gonna be the end no matter what happens. And he just wants to be remembered positively. Also, I believe too, so like if we're taking the time to actually hack all this stuff and whatnot, I was like, this stuff's actually going to them, so we're finally getting to pass on these messages to them that they may have never actually seen because he died and then they took his stuff. It was also kind of crazy because it's like, in a meta-narrative standpoint, you know, we're giving them closure that they may not have actually had until now. Ugh. And this game sometimes is just a lot. I wouldn't trade it for anything because I was like, I've loved so far just getting to experience this and enjoy what they've had planned out for us, but okay. So we need something to get us specifically onto here. Because for once, my tried and true method of just doing it and hoping is just kind of putting me in circles. What if we go this way? This way? This is really getting us nowhere. Please, I beg. Okay, so where is our setup that they need us to go. That's so close. We're just constantly ending up a step at one back. Yep. I'm gonna probably cut this out, so it's fine. We can just pretend that we don't know. I can't even say words right at this point. Okay. Okay, that's our line. It's good there. We need to somehow be able to stop. No, there's no way to be able to stop there. Alright, what does this one got for us? Chat archive. Everybody's working on the weekend. Olivier, I need you guys to get me everything that goes over to by the end of Friday at the latest. Can you do it? Well, no. Are you crazy? We don't even know where it is yet, and Friday's a holiday. holiday, really? Do people realize that working here is a privilege? If they care about their jobs, they'll come in and it'll be an honor. And no, I'm not crazy. I'm getting a lot of heat from Letitia. If we don't get it done, she'll take it out on devils and all our work will be lost. Does she even know how anything works here? She has her own pressures. I realize that, but we're already working overtime. And when we were going to discuss the plot of Devils, has to change to accommodate this observatory business. How am I going to sell this? You're not going to. It's too sensitive. So we're just collecting the memories for no reason? Not no reason. Letitia, we use them. This is ridiculous. You want us to devote our lives to finding information we're not allowed to develop or understand or use in any way. It won't help sales, and my people will never see their work rewarded in public. How am I supposed to motivate them? I don't know. Give them breakfast, pain au chocolat, coffee, pretend to sneak in some coffee liqueur. A little beer with lunch, feed them. They'll forgive you. Again? They're not going to keep falling for this. Yes, they will. Bread and circuses. Look it up. It's a thing. Come on, be serious. I am being serious. Remember, none of this comes from me. Letitia needs what she needs. If we want the project to continue, we have to keep her happy. The observatory doesn't have anything to do with pirates anyways. It would only complicate things. Take the focus off the action. But it's fascinating. I realize it's more mature and complex. I can't believe I'm the one arguing this. We are crazy not to use it. Imagine, we could be selling to pirate fans and conspiracy theorists all at the same time. The potential for market growth is huge. We cannot use it, so please stop asking. This is insane. As you already know, Melanie, this company is a subsidiary of Abstergo Industries, and Abstergo Industries has a different culture. They're hierarchical and rule-driven. We may not always like it, but if we want to advance in this company, we have to be careful. You're protecting her. I'm protecting you. I know we have our arguments from time to time, but I know you care deeply about our work, and I don't want you to get yourself ejected from the conversation. We need you. Do you understand? Yeah, I get it. Pick my battles. It's common sense. I don't know why this one thing is bothering me so much right now. I'm just tired. So I don't need to find someone else to help me? No, we'll get it done, somehow. I'll personally bring the coffee liqueur for breakfast. Well, thanks. I'll find some way to get them excited about it in the meantime. If it makes you feel better, I can tell you a secret. What? What a nerd, using the nose and the :D. If we are successful with the observatory, Abstergo may develop a Las Vegas attraction to accompany the release of Devils. What? What? They're looking to partnership with those aquatic circus people you love, or you like. Imagine celebrating with the whole team at a live-action gladiator show. Assassins versus Templars versus pirates versus sharks. Whoa, I'm an how do you come up with this stuff? I have all kinds of things saved in files here and there. I always get, I always think I'll get around to doing something with them in a quiet moment, but there never be quiet moments. Oh well, you'll retire someday. Not if I'm lucky. Me neither. Wink. Wow. Oh, that's just a bathroom, never mind. It's so funny too, because it was like, she definitely fell for the same trick of just like, oh, I'll just dangle the carrot in front of you and, you know, you'll be like, alright, fine, I forgive you. Ooh, finally, an easier one. Thank you, game. Nope. Nope. Uh-oh, nope. Oh, alright. Patience. Just patience, buddy. There we go. Oh, nope. Never mind. Hop on over here, and then do a ride with you, right with you. Yeah. It's so funny that that one just gave me so much trouble. I really haven't had a hard time so far.
We are attempting to synchronize the DDS system. This will only take a moment. We are almost there. The DDS is now in sync. Thank you for your patience. We hope you enjoy your experience. Rudolf II invited many notable figures to his court, making Prague the center of European culture. Among them were Englishman Edward Kelly and his stepdaughter, Elizabeth Jane Weston. Observe her and report any alleged collusion.
From Project Legacy. Okay. I was like, I've seen that name pop up a few times, but I was like, I don't actually know anything about. Yeah, I was just like, I don't happen to know anything about the whole Project Legacy thing or like a couple of the other projects that were in there. Because I was like, there's a ton of Assassin's Creed stuff. Ooh, Subject 1. This is the person that's
February
the focus
12,
of
1981.
Liberation?
Qualitative personal interview with Subject 1 on ancestral research regarding Avalon de Grand Prix. How are you feeling? Any side effects?
Not really. Aside from the headaches. They've been worse since I started staying in longer. But I don't want to stop. I like her. I want to know what she does next.
What's it like? Reliving her memories.
So different. The Animus, I mean. The past. At first it was confusing. Distracting. Like New Orleans, the stench. I wasn't expecting all the smells.
Smell is the sense most directly linked to memory.
When I'm in her memories, it's like I can smell more than I usually can.
In general, women have a more acute sense of smell than men do. I had wondered how that would translate. Anything else?
Yeah. She's smaller than me, but it's like her body could do more.
Did that surprise you?
At first, yeah. The ERA people might hate me for this or whatever, but I don't usually think of girls that way. Climbing things. My mom, my sisters. The animal feeling of Aveline sinking her hidden blade into the throat of...
Go on.
It doesn't feel feminine. What I think of as feminine. But then at the same time it does. Her center of gravity is way lower. That was a surprise. How easy it is to land. How steady I am on her feet. Sorry. This is hard to talk about.
No, it's fascinating. This is what we need. Pure experience, in your own words.
Okay.
Can you tell me about Gerald Blunk?
What about him?
He and Avalon were close, but we haven't been able to ascertain if he might be your missing ancestor. Do her memories suggest anything to you? Does this make you uncomfortable? Remember, these are her memories. You're just playing them back. It's not even acting. You're a researcher.
Like you say, I haven't experienced her consummating anything. That would be... Anyway, I think maybe she was confused.
Oh.
Well, first of all, I don't really know for sure, okay? I mean, guys think about sex more than girls, right? That's a fact.
As a researcher, what did you observe?
Does it mean she's more like a guy if she thinks about... Is that why she's able to assassinate? Well, okay, here's the thing. I don't know her thoughts, but from what's in her memories, physically, the fidgeting, some hesitation, what she looked at, who she looked away from, the things she didn't say when I expected her to. If I had to guess what it meant, I would think she was thinking about sex. But I'm a guy, so I would think that, right? So what does it mean for women to act that way? It has to mean something else, right?
As a subject, you're able to observe more finely than I am in review. What about unwanted attention from men?
Well, I thought that would be the hardest thing to deal with. I'm not into that, for the record. Not at all.
Yes, I know.
But the way she dealt with it, it happens so often. It's like you stop noticing everything she does to avoid it. Crossing the street, eyes in the back of her head. She knew how to handle herself. When she was charming, felt kind of similar to killing. Or the build-up to killing. Can we take a break, Mr. Vidic?
Of course.
Also, I was like, so
We're ready
I wonder
to go
how
on?
far back this goes
Yes.
for Vidic.
Evelyn was black.
And white. On her father's side.
You're sensitive to that?
I guess. I mean, I'm white. Aveline looks black, so that's different. But you get used to it. Like with the girl thing. Until someone makes you not used to it.
What do you mean?
I don't think I've ever had to think so much about what I'm wearing or how I'm walking. But Aveline, it's like she goes through her whole life in these uniforms.
People expect her to behave in a certain way.
Definitely. Sometimes I worry I'll slip up and play too relaxed at the warehouse and, I don't know, blow her cover.
You can't blow her cover.
I know. I'm just replaying the memories. I can't change them, I know. But I see it, right? It's a risk. It's...
Stressful?
Yes. It's best when she goes out as an assassin. On the roofs or in the bayou. I think she was more relaxed that way. Can you imagine? You're only relaxed when you're going to kill someone.
Let's stick to memories rather than imagination. What about the slaves?
They're kind of just everywhere. I mean, that sounds bad. Slavery is bad, but no one's acting like slavery's bad. It's fun when she frees slaves. Is it supposed to be fun?
We're not looking for supposed to. Focus on what it is.
Huh. Okay. So that opens up a lot when you start to think about it, because it's like, you know, so like Desmond has a really weird time when it comes to
Yeah, that's true.
being, you know, it's like he gets to, you know, very heavily feel what everyone's doing. And there's that one scene where he ends up being, I think through the bleeding effect, he ends up like momentarily being the fetus of one of his ancestors, and he like describes that as a very weird feeling. But so that also brings up a lot of other interesting questions about the fact that like people playing as ancestors who are different genders or, you know, different skin tones and whatnot, like would be very, very different from you. And I guess like that whole thing brings awareness to the fact that you're being made aware of things that you would not normally have to deal with in your day-to-day life. Like as a guy, you're going to deal with different societal pressures and attention from people than you will as a woman. Like, huh. That's something that I have literally not even like thought about at all over the course of this, but it makes so much sense for that to be the case, you know? Why? Ah, Jesus Christ. Oh my... Please, I beg. Just do... Just... Okay. Am I just like doing it too early every time, or... Because I feel like I should be getting the gap just fine, and then... Nope. Go boom, boom. Jump over here, jump. Oh no! I just autopilot kicked in. Man, that's kind of an interesting thought though too, that it was like, so if we say we had this technology and ability in real life, like the sheer amount of work that we could do in getting people to understand each other more and like bridge cultural divides and whatnot by just making them live as something like that. Like giving the opportunity to experience other ends
Our
of
initial
the
reports gave us hope
spectrum.
that Enzio Auditore would serve as an ideal candidate for future Abstergo projects. His charisma, sexual magnetism, and wry humor gave him all the qualities of a leading man. However, his corruption by the Assassin Order robbed him of these qualities as he fell deeper and deeper into a spiral of revenge. Enzio was frequently known to articulate a passive acceptance of evil. He was also a man of ugly contradictions, one who preached free thought, yet traveled well beyond his home country to proselytize his corrupted creed, just as he's doing here with this impressionable Chinese girl. Notice, too, that in his gestures and bearing there is still something of the old lecher in him. Enzio's entire personality is built around pure demagoguery, claiming his philosophy is about love when violence and coercion are his primary means of tackling problems. We have therefore come to the conclusion that Enzio Auditore da Firenze would be a risky character to develop.
It's so funny also hearing them say things, and I was like, it really sounds like he's saying Enzio. Like he's throwing an N in there. And I was like, I don't know if they're like, because I had the same thing where it's just like the just most like generic possible pronunciation. Like I said, I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but it is funny because it's just like, dang, you put absolutely zero respect on his name, huh? I don't know. I'm a big proponent in being able to figure out, like, life is weird, and sometimes experiencing things through a different lens can do a lot more for you than you might expect. Just because, like, there's a lot of things that we experience in life that is solely unique to us or people like us. And that's why there's always been such a divide in between the you versus us type sentiment, you know? People are scared of things that are not something they can relate to. But say if you could give someone the experience and think overall if people were more willing to do scary things and more willing to put themselves in uncomfortable situations, I think something like this would fully just bridge a lot of gaps that we have when it comes to overall just acceptance and judgment of people. Again, I was like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it shouldn't be that hard in the first place, but it's tough for a lot of people to just accept things that are outside of themselves. So like I said, I think that it would just be cool to have opportunities like, god damn it, to have opportunities like that. Because I don't know, I think one of the interesting things about life is that there are plenty of opportunities to make yourself uncomfortable in the name of like understanding things and trying stuff that's new, because I was like, you know, most things are going to be scary if you're not accustomed to dealing with it. Again, I was like, it's about finding stuff that exists outside of yourself and being able to actually like learn from it, or at least find a better way to accept it.
Our initial research into the life of Ratana Gaydon focused on a period spanning his late teens to his early 30s, but our researchers came away unimpressed by his calm and stoic demeanor, with occasional flashes of extreme anger. This was not the sort of leading man we felt comfortable endorsing. We decided, therefore, to delve into his early childhood, with the hope that scenes of pre-colonial America might hold some appeal. As you can see here, there is a certain naive charm and innocence to this young boy. Unfortunately, our researchers found this young man's story deeply problematic as well. For one, the omnipresence of the Mohawk culture lacks the balance necessary to tell the true story of America. And secondly, the Mohawk language would certainly be an issue for most of our audience. We therefore feel that although Rattanatenkon's early life would be of some interest to our more educated viewers, it's unlikely that his story would appeal on a broader scale, being too foreign, as it were, to normal audiences. Our team recommends we pass on this property.
I also think it's interesting too, because I'm curious, like, I don't know, because there's all sorts of stuff, and it's like, obviously they've put so much time into all these different characters, quote unquote, from Subject 17, but like, truthfully, I wonder if on the back end, like, these are being developed because they have to still explain why certain stuff's not getting used or whatnot, and so they're purposely downplaying the interest of it because it doesn't push along the, you know, their agenda. Is that would be my guess for it, is like, oh, it doesn't push along our agenda, we don't agree with the values of this because it paints Templars in a bad light. And it's like, that's the real reason, not the fact that, like, and it's also, you know, they're so quick to judge everyone. Ah. Is this going to be yet again another example of me being unable to crack the code? What if we try going left? Okay, that does nothing for us. That just sends us back into this loop. And back here. Oh, there you go. See, that took at least a good chunk less time than I expected it would.
Timestamp August 16th, 2013. The following audio clips were selected from over 160 hours of reel-to-reel tape found in the residence of the late Dr. Warren Vidic following his murder in December 2012. According to labels on the tape's canisters, these recordings were made over a 14-month period between 1980 and 1981 without the consent of their primary subject, Mrs. Eileen Bach, a colleague of Dr. Vidic's and the originator of Abstergo's surrogate initiative. Mrs. Bach is now deceased. It should be stated unequivocally that Dr. Vidic made these recordings illegally and of his own volition using wiretaps and hidden microphones. Abstergo Industries had no knowledge of his actions and disavows any responsibility for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. No knowledge of what's going on.
Capacitators at full. Ease the signal in. A little more. You feel anything?
Don't be timid. Double it.
No, we're taking it easy. 20%.
30.
Eileen, go easy. We're 6 past yesterday.
And boost the inputs.
Too risky.
Not if we split the I/O signals.
25%. He's up.
Oh, okay. There. I see something.
What is it?
Mein Gott. I hear talking.
You're okay?
Ja, ich höre Stimmen. It's German. Mein Name ist Miriam Kurz. I see a light. It's cold. Ich werde nichts sagen. There's a man with me. Mehr werde ich nicht sagen.
Keep an eye on our fighters?
Mein Name ist Miriam Kurz und ich bin eine Navajo. Des Hitlers Zwang, der macht uns klein. Doch liegen wir in Ketten. Doch einmal werden wir wieder frei. Wir werden die Ketten schon brechen.
Eileen?
Denn unsere Fäuste, die sind hart, ja. Und die Messer sitzen lose. Für die Freiheit der Jugend kämpfen Navajos.
Switch off!
Powering down.
Kämpft Navajos!
Get her out of there! Oxygen from the valve.
No. No, Satish, I'm fine, really.
Quit the heroics. Just breathe. Better?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Did we get something?
It'll take a while to parse. What did you see?
It wasn't just seeing. It was feeling. Being. I was scared.
You were shouting in German.
I think I was in Germany. I was in Germany, Satish.
Good morning. Well rested?
Exhausted. Yesterday was an incredible find.
Seems so. What did it feel like?
It's foggy, but I relived the memories of a young German woman. Early 20s, I think. A man was interrogating me, looming over me and asking questions. He was shouting, but I was shouting back. And then this poem just came out, like a chant.
Fascinating. I'm eager for you to hear the tape.
Is it ready?
Yes, we transliterated the data onto an audio file. It took all night to process the language.
Spool it up.
Of course. Have a seat. Judging by the subject matter and the setting, I'd say you landed somewhere in Germany in the 1940s, 1 or 2 generations back. During the war, I'd imagine.
1940s Germany? That would be Miriam Kurtz, my ex-husband's mother.
So she's not related to you in any way?
God, I hope not. I'd hate to find out my ex-husband is also my brother.
Well, if it was Miriam Kurtz, then we hit a home run. You tapped into someone else's bloodline entirely.
Should we celebrate?
We'll listen first.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 23, July 29th, 1980. Host, Eileen Bach. DNA sample SB1970.
It's a little garbled at first. This is you settling into the memory.
Your name, say it.
My name is Miriam Kurtz.
Louder.
My name is Miriam Kurtz, and I am Navajo.
Where did you last see the artifact? Who holds it now?
I'll say nothing. I've told you all I will.
I don't believe that is true. Who has the artifact?
Hitler's dictates make us small, and we are bound in chains. But one day again, we shall walk tall. No binds with us, restrain.
Enough!
For hard are our fists, yes, and the knives at our wrists for you to be free. Navajos lay siege.
Knock her away.
Navajos lay siege.
And that's where we pull you out.
Whoa. What would it take to get a visual render of all that?
Months, unfortunately. It took 13 hours just to process the audio. Visual takes much longer.
But Vidic is able to record audio and visual in real time. How does he do it?
His subjects are exploring their own genetic memories. That requires much less processing power.
Hold on, sorry. Eileen here.
Hello. You have 10 o'clock in Lillian's office. It's 10:13 now.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Tell her I'll be right there. And tell her we have some good news.
No problem.
You in trouble?
The monthly progress report. I'm trying to be honest about our progress, but no matter how much I polish our facts, Warren Vidic swoops in, promising the moon for pennies, and gets 10 times the funding for his Animus project.
Well, we are using his Animus technology. He's the foundation. We are the skyscraper.
Which is why he should be a tech lead, not a project director. Good work, Satish.
It's incredible footage, really. Clear and vivid. And the subject was synced for a full 62 minutes. Came out speaking French after his last session. Passably fluent. And with full recall of everything he'd gone through.
Sorry I'm late. I was reviewing some data.
It's fine. Warren was just telling me about his first subject, Mr.
No names. Call him Subject 1. Confidentiality.
And how about you, Eileen? What's your good news?
Well, we did it. We synced with an unembedded memory. outside the bloodline. That's a first.
Really?
Satish was able to process the audio today. A short clip. You can hear it for yourself.
Only audio? No real-time memory feeds like Vidic has?
Well, that's the difficulty with surrogate genetic memory data. Because I'm viewing memories not embedded in my own DNA, we can't rely on my cognitive faculties to help me process the signal. All we can do is record the raw data and transliterate it later.
Hold on. You're running this experiment on yourself?
I am. It's going well.
I don't like the sound of that.
Look, the sample I'm using, the DNA comes from my own son. It's safer this way.
Ah, good thinking.
50% of my son's DNA is also mine, which reduces the danger by a huge margin. Meaning, I can now explore the memories of people who aren't directly related to me on his father's side.
But for brief periods of time, I imagine.
Right. Just a minute or two so far, but we're getting there. Come by the lab and listen for yourself.
I will, when I have a moment. Unfortunately, work beckons. Ladies?
God, the 80s Vidic is the
colder
worst.
than a San Francisco summer.
Stay focused, Eileen. You both have important work to do.
Obviously. But my work requires his animus technology. I feel a little caged in.
That's collaboration, Eileen. It's how science works. I shouldn't have to remind you.
I know. I'm just tired. Stop by and see us today. We have a lot to share.
If not today, then this week sometime.
Thank you.
Okay, so from what I'm gathering from this is that it means... So, Eileen Bach and Vidic competed against each other. But the surrogate program is based around not accessing your own DNA, but getting other people's DNA. Or, you know, going through experiences from other people's DNA and bloodlines and whatnot. And so, most likely... I was like, if this is the case, then that's why she was able to more easily access someone on her ex-husband's side, which we have another voice recording of Vidic trying to pull him into things, which is fun. But so overall, Vidic is a dick and constantly, you know, spying on everyone else because he has a lot more money and resources going his way. And then... like I said, they're having a harder time actually being able to go through everything. But then I wonder too, so if that's the case, then her work actually is what pioneers what we're doing in this game, right? Like, she is the reason that we are able to actually access other people's memories, so that's why we're playing through Desmond's stuff. Then we're not even, none of us are related to him most likely. So it's interesting. It's something to kind of think more about. And there you go. So I'm very, very curious to see like what all of this actually kind of means. But you know, so if the Templars have been doing this since the 80s, then you know, they've been messing with stuff for such a long time. Okay. Oh, and here's this Elizabeth Jane Weston again that was mentioned in that legacy thing. Well, this says Count Rosenberg will take care of us now so long as Papa and Uncle John work for him. Our home is big, but the bonus is a small town. Mama seems happy. Uncle John, everyone else calls him Dr. D, says that not all 5-year-olds can speak 3 languages or write as well as I do. I foretell a bright future for you, Lady Beth. I like reading, drawing, and writing poems, but mathematics are hard. John Francis, my brother, is better at calculations than I am. He is 1 year older. Papa wants me to get the same opportunities as my brother. He says I am fortunate that not all young ladies have private tutors. I study hard to please him. We're fasting this evening, Master Kelly. Uncle John announces. Papa grins. I know what this means. They will be working all night again. After dinner, I run to the parlor and jump on Uncle John's lap. His beard, unlike Papa's, is all white and rough. I ask him to tell me a story. Uncle John makes everyone laugh, even Papa, who's usually so serious. He says they have to work now. Mama tells me it's time for bed. Pull the sheets over my head and listen to the low, humming voices coming from the study. I'm afraid of the dark, but not tonight, not with Papa and Uncle John praying. Honesty. Papa needs to leave now to earn money. I know about money. We need them to eat and purchase things. I do not want him to go. I give Papa a big hug, and Uncle John too. I wait them until I can no longer see their carriage. How long will they be gone this time? Ask Mama about Papa's work. She says he gives conferences with Uncle John, providing advice to people who need it. John Francis says Papa communicates with angels. I laugh, but Mama does not. He told me, he says, crossing his skinny arms over his chest. After a long pause, Mama sighs. John Francis is right. Your father speaks with angels. He gains, she scratches her head, insight from them. Ask Mama what an angel is. She says it is a being from beyond, a winged entity that lives with God in heaven. I do not know what she means. John Francis says only Papa can call angels. Mama nods, saying he has a rare gift. He uses a crystal ball, John Francis declares. Let's see. I seldom see Papa and Uncle John these days. They do not eat, they are fasting again, and spend most of their time in the study. I wake up with a start and pull the blankets to my chin. It is still dark, but I hear voices downstairs. Taking a deep breath, I sneak out of bed. Walk down the stairs, avoiding the creaking ones. I fear monsters would jump out of shadows, though Uncle John assured me he banished all monsters from our home. I tiptoe to the door of the study and put my ear upon it. I recognize Papa's and Uncle John's voices. There's also another much deeper voice within. A loud click. They've unlocked the door. I hide behind the cabinet. Papa and Uncle John come out of the study and walk away, smiling. Count to 100, then tiptoe toward the study. No one inside? Elizabeth? Papa says behind me. What are you doing? Papa makes me promise not going to study. There are things in there you should not see. There are 100 questions I want to ask him, but I can only nod. This one's wisdom. I've never seen Papa and Uncle John so happy. They whisper and laugh at things only they understand. Mama says it's because they have done good work. I finish my dinner and ask to be excused. Mama nods and I hurry upstairs. I notice the door to Uncle John's room is ajar. I hurry to the door, holding my breath. I peek inside. The room is sumptuous. Uncle John always says Aunt Jane has good taste, and he is right. Tiptoe inside. Uncle John's armoire is filled with treasure: shiny rocks, a black mirror, a wax seal with pictures on it, a gold amulet. Ignoring everything else, I pick up what looks like a globe packed in cloth. Could it be the crystal ball John Francis mentioned? Quickly unwrap it. The sphere is heavy and feels warm in my hands. It is made of the shiniest gold. On the surface, I see a reflection of my face and Uncle John's. Uncle John grabs the sphere and puts it inside his doublet? I shiver and he smiles. You should not be playing with things you cannot comprehend, Lady Beth. Demons. We have been in Trebon almost 2 years now. We are happier than we've ever been. Pride. Papa continues to work while Uncle John is away. He keeps to himself and barely addresses us during breakfast, but at least he is eating now. I am feeble today. Mama says I have a fever and tells me to stay in bed. I sleep all day and most of the night I awake famished. I dislike the night, but I'm not afraid of it as I used to be. I get out of bed, careful not to make a sound, and do not want to wake anybody up. Pale light emanates from the study. The door is open. Papa never leaves the door of his study open. I creep toward the light on the tip of my toes. Sneak a peek inside. Papa leans over a table reading a book. It has an odd silvery tint. Papa suddenly mumbles an incomprehensible string of words and numbers. Papa sprinkles red powder on something on the table. I did it. His wide grin deforms his face. I did it. He picks up a clump of gold. Papa guffaws make me shiver. His voice is deep and he speaks words I do not understand. I hurry upstairs and crawl back into bed. Oh, I wonder if that has to do with something with, like, transmutation? Agreed. I noticed Papa and Uncle John in the distance. I pick up my dolls and hide behind the tallest oak in the garden. I try not to laugh as they walk toward me. Papa tells Uncle John that they should change the nature of their work. They should study alchemy and stop wasting their time with angels. They pass by the oak. The book has boundless potential, Papa says. I need your help to unlock its formulas. I poke my head out. Uncle John frowns. We can work at the Imperial Court, Papa continues. Producing gold is only the first step. Uncle John turns to face him. I hide again, hugging my dolls. You should not fiddle with this book, Kelly. I almost fail to recognize Uncle John's voice. You cannot imagine that evil contains. It holds more than mere numbers. Papa protests, but Uncle John interrupts. Your associate, Master Hussey, you see? The one who gave you the book. I dealt with him before. Long ago, he cannot be trusted. Papa says they could be rich beyond their wildest dreams. I take a quick glance. Uncle John shakes his head. No, my friend, the book will destroy you. Lust. Mom is in her room crying. She's buried other 2 words in days, and I suspect she's not even spoken to Papa. She's been avoiding his gaze. I am reading when a loud clang makes me jump. Is John Francis acting up again? He can be such a baby sometimes. Another clash followed by a shriek, a woman's shriek. I put my book down and hurry to the door. Papa and Uncle John are screaming at each other. Walk out of my bedroom. The shouting has stopped, but I hear sobbing now coming from Uncle John's room. Is Aunt Jane hurt? The door of Uncle John's room suddenly bursts open. Aunt Jane cries out after her husband, but someone interrupts her. Papa. I feel the entire floor shudder as Uncle John slams the door shut. He glares at me, fire in his eyes. I'm paralyzed. My eyes well up. Uncle John takes my hand and pulls me away. You should not be here. He drags me downstairs. You should not have seen this. Wrath. Papa and Uncle John seldom speak now. When they do, they shout, which makes Mama cry. Aunt Jane stays in her room. I wish I could do the same. I wake up jumping. Papa is screaming again. I close my eyes, wishing things would be better. It used to be as... Jeez. I close my eyes, wishing things would be as they used to, but I am old enough to know better. The door slams. I look out the window and see Papa walking toward the stable, shouting, "Envious fool." I watch him disappear in the darkness. I run downstairs. Mama sits in the parlor sobbing in silence. I crawl under the sofa. It is time for me to leave. Uncle John's voice is filled with sorrow. You will be missed, both of you. Wishing Uncle John good fortune. Mama leaves. I stay hidden and watch Uncle John pace the room. I quietly follow Uncle John to Papa's study. Producing a key, he looks over his shoulder and locks the door. At life's end, you will understand, old friend. Uncle John comes out of the study with Papa's strange silver book. I'm doing this for your father. The secrets it holds are not meant for him. Monsters. Mama says she feels at home in Prague, but I do not. Papa will not let me do anything. He tells me the streets are not safe. Rumors. I like it when Papa brings me to Prague Castle. It gives me a chance to escape from the house and spend time with him. He is seldom home these days. People from all over the world gather here in the center of European culture, as Papa puts it. I wonder why important people frown so much. Papa speaks with an elderly gentleman. His flowing white beard reminds me of Uncle John's. I sigh and take Papa's hand. He does not seem to notice. We do not dare walk the streets, the old gentleman complains. Even during daytime, Papa nods, saying that Prague has never been so unsafe. You know why, Master Kelly? The Emperor. He leans close to Papa's ear. He is weak. He gives the people too much freedom. I heard that a killer runs amok, targeting noblemen and alchemists. There's a tremor in the old man's voice. They say he's a monster, a giant. Some say he's not even human, Papa declares as he squeezes his hand, wishing Uncle John could be here to banish the monsters of Prague. Toil. For my 10th birthday, Papa will show me his workshop. I will finally have a chance to see where he spends his days and many of his nights. Most people we encounter ignore me as I follow Papa through the corridors of Prague Castle, but some scowl or roll their eyes when they see me. The windows in this part of the castle have been sealed off with bricks and mortar. Papa carefully locks every door we pass through. Papa's workshop is a treasure trove. There's a myriad of items here, each more wondrous than the next. Colored powders, ancient scrolls, amulets. Papa works all day, reading formulas, mixing powders, boiling liquids. I watch from afar, afraid to disturb him. His work is so important. Papa constantly mutters to himself. He blinks a lot and often glances over his shoulder. It makes me nervous, especially when he barks strange words. I cannot do it. Howling, Papa throws a glass beaker to the floor, explodes in 1,000 tiny shards. I cover my face. I need the book. Alchemists. Night is falling when a young visitor interrupts Papa's work. He enters the workshop and announces the Emperor has summoned his alchemists. Papa tells me to wait and warns me not to touch a thing, then frowning, he takes my hand and drives me along. You must remain quiet. We enter a dark room where a score of old men gather around a long table. Papa motions to me to stay behind with the assistants and apprentices. A large man in black clothes with white ruff and fur hat enters. Everyone bows. I take a step back, hiding behind a lanky youth. The man, the Emperor, sits at the end of the table, scrutinizing everyone in the room. When he raises an eyebrow, one of the alchemists jumps to his feet. My brother has seen the monster, the man squeaks like a mouse. It is wholly black, a demon, the alchemists discuss at length. Many alchemists agree, this killer, the monster, cannot be human. What if it is a homunculus? Papa suggests. A deathly silence falls upon the room. Golem. We leave Prague Castle before dawn. A score of guards escorts us and other alchemists for our safety. Why are there so many monsters in the world? Dawn creeps over the Tava. Finally, we arrive at the house of the last alchemist. We will soon be home. No, Papa will not stop talking to him. I walk into the alley next to the man's house, 2 steps into it, and ouch, I bump into an invisible wall. White eyes appear in the darkness. I see it, the silhouette of a giant. Marks cover the monster's pitch-black forehead. No letters. E-M-E-T. I stare at the white eyes. Who are you? I have been called many names. The monster's voice is strange, guttural. Here, they call me Golem. Papa shouts, Guards, run toward us. You have just saved your father's life, little one. It rasps. Golem runs toward the river. I see it clearly now, a gigantic body, black and sinewy. The monster jumps in the river. I follow, Papa and the guards behind me. I observe the water perfectly still, not a hint of Golem. Ghost. We have never discussed Papa's imprisonment. Not one word about it in over 3 years. Now that John Francis is away, I must take care for Mama. Papa will be released from prison today, but Mama worries. She says he has one last chance to satisfy the Emperor's expectations. Standing in front of the house, I hold Mama's hand. My heart beats quickly as I behold Papa's carriage. I forget to breathe when it stops 2 paces before us. Mama trembles when the carriage door opens. A pale, emaciated man with long, grizzled beard steps out. Papa, he walks by us as if we were ghosts. Mama has prepared roasted lamb, Papa's favorite, to celebrate his return, but he does not eat. He simply stares at his plate, silent. Mama makes idle conversation, pretending without much success that nothing is wrong. Papa suddenly stands up. His chair hits the floor with a loud thud. Papa storms out of the dining room, pushing invisible spirits out of his way. He shouts in a strange tongue, the same language I once heard him speak when I was little. My heart is in a knot, but I can't hold back my tears. I take Mama's hand, but nothing I can do or say will ease her sorrow. What will we do now? Failure. The Emperor has restored Papa's status, but soldiers guard our house. They are not here to protect us, but to make sure Papa does not leave Prague. A month has passed since Papa's return. He remains distant, but at least he does not completely ignore us, though he works ceaselessly. I walk through the open doorway of Papa's study. The platter Mama has prepared for him in my hands, and stop. Papa sits on the floor and begins to howl. I drop the platter and its contents spatter across the room. I run to Papa and kneel next to him. He grasps my hand and immediately falls silent. Papa's nails dig into the flesh of my hand. I bite my lip to suppress a cry. He suddenly raises a fist in front of my face. I close my eyes. I cannot do it. Papa's voice is bleak, desperate. Not enough. Not even a handful left. I look at him, tears run down his ashen face. Slowly, as if revealing a priceless treasure, he opens his fist. In the palm of this wrinkled hand is a tiny bit of red dust. Curse you, D. Confinement. Papa works without rest. Even though he keeps saying he has already failed us, he has not slept in weeks and he barely eats. He is but a shell of a man I once knew. Mama shakes me out of my dreams. Elizabeth, soldiers are coming. I do not react immediately, for I'm used to soldiers guarding our house. I look outside. There's a column of young men in uniform in our yard. Their torches cast dancing shadows upon their faces. Monsters of Prague. Open the front door. An officer and 6 stern-faced men step inside. The officer clears his throat. By order of... No. Mama darts forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. I hold her back. You cannot take him away. You cannot. Not again. Soldier's eyes widen. Papa walks towards us, his face twisted in demonic grimace. He murmurs a prayer in a strange tongue only he seems to understand. The officer tries to reason with Papa, howling. Papa jumps on him, clawing at his face. The soldier strikes his head and he falls. Mama wails as they take him away. Tumble. I'm 16 years old, and some of the guards in Haven Castle have taken an interest in me. They insist on making conversation every time I visit Papa. None of them interest me. Most are boorish cretins. Others are more bedraggled than hogs in mud-filled sites. But I always smile and remain courteous. Take a deep breath when, in the distance, I spot Hidvent. I wonder if it's supposed to be like Heaven's Tower? If like the N silent, or if it's Nevin's Tower and the H is silent? Try not to think of the babbling louse I will have to confront before seeing Papa. What is this? A cross at the top of the tower? I walk more briskly than my heart stops. Papa, he stands at the edge of the tower, arms wide open. Creed fan? I run towards the castle. I see Papa clearly now, a skeleton in tattered robes. He stares at me. No, not at me, but beyond. You have come. Free me, divine messenger, free me. Papa raises his hands to the sky as if praying. Heavenly guardian, guide my fall. He jumps off the tower. I support Papa's broken body. He bleeds profusely but holds my gaze. His demons no longer haunt him. D was wise. He exhales his last breath. News of Queen Elizabeth's death reaches Prague. The Virgin Queen, after which I have been named, has passed away 1 month after my wedding. Tribute. A knock at the door disturbs my thoughts. I lift my head from the blank page on my desk and put my quill down. Come in. Johannes, my husband, steps in my study. A tussock of raven hair brushes his face as he lowers his head. How remarkably formal of him. He apologized for disrupting me while I work. I frowned, feeling annoyance, but failed to suppress a thin smile. He seemed incapable of writing today. Johannes's face lights up. His thumb absently caresses the ivory handle of his cane. A package has arrived. It is addressed to Lady Beth. Lady Beth? Only Uncle John calls me thus. I have not heard from him in years. I run out of the room and hurry down the stairs as I used to when I was little. Ignoring the letter accompanying the package, I quickly peel off the layers of cloth covering what I assume to be a framed painting. The painting depicts the Virgin Queen, two ladies in waiting behind her, standing in front of 3 goddesses. How thoughtful of Uncle John. 3 goddesses. Johannes and I stare at the painting, mesmerized. Magnificent! My eyes are then fixate on the verse engraved upon its frame. Johannes contemplates every last detail, every tiny stroke, every subtle hue. Master Johannes Leo, husband, jurist, and connoisseur. See what lies on the ground? Johannes points a finger, at first at the golden scepter, then at a quiver of arrows, and finally at fallen roses. Juno, Minerva, and Venus. Johannes shakes his head, laughing quietly. He had not expected me to answer. He should know better. Or Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. I feel like that should be Johannes's nose is 2 inches from the painting. The 3 goddesses whose beauty Paris judged. I remember the story well, having read it several times. This painting is an allegory, my husband says. I suspect otherwise, but do not contradict him. There's something familiar about the painting, yes? Yes, the golden orb, identical to the one I found in Uncle John's room when I was a child. Ah, a piece of Eden. I think. The Fairy Queen. I sit in my study, alone, staring at the painting Uncle John has given me. My hands tremble as my fingers brush the edge of the dry wax sealing his scroll. I carefully break the scroll seal and unroll it. I immediately recognize Uncle John's penmanship. Lady Beth, it begins. I smile, for I am still fond of the private name Uncle John used to address me. Fairest and most noble of poetesses. Poetesses? Poetesses. Please accept this humble gift for your not-so-humble friend and mentor. Uncle John is much more than that. He is family, a second father to me. I hope you will find it a fitting tribute for your betrothal. I laughed quietly. I never expected to receive such a splendid gift. If you observe the composition, you will surely recognize the trinket you once unearthed in my chamber, the golden orb. I knew it. You may think this picture a riddle, an allegory, an artist's fancy. It is not. And the object in the hand of the Fairy Queen is real. So is its power, and so are the goddesses. Data stream terminated. Okay. Huh. So it's like, it's got to be something else from research on that end, but it's like, again, more case in point for there being actual, like, evidence of the pieces of Eden existing and everything, even outside of what we found through Desmond. So there's definitely a lot to gain out of taking the time to do all this stuff. Woo. Unlock the secrets of our past. This is an early Animus prototype, okay. Computing makes mind reading possible. We got some blueprints. And that's the one that I remember from, you know, game 1. They have us trapped in the Abstergo stuff. Okay. That's cool. What else? Oh, let's grab this sticky note over here. Because it's just fun. Like, I'm glad I'm taking the time to actually go look into all this stuff, because it's funny because it's like, it's all the fun of uncovering a conspiracy plot, but without, like, the implications that that there's actually, like, more going on. We'll grab this guy over here, too. Because that thing where it's like, with a lot of stuff in real life, it was like, obviously you can't really validate a lot of things, even if stuff makes sense and whatnot. But in a game, you can kind of validate it, because it was like, the whole point of it being in here is for you to discover and explore. And so after we get this one, we've just got 2 more sticky notes, which will probably be on the top floor for us, I guess. Because we're just about caught up with everything we can possibly read and do, I believe. And obviously, I was like, I'll make sure I do a sweep, because hopefully we're not just missing anything. Oh, cool, we can hack into Melanie's computer. Yeah, first try.
Initial reports on Aveline de Grand Prix led us to believe she would be too controversial and impulsive to appeal to a wide audience. Teenage memories show her brainwashed and trained to kill political foes of her highly unstable mentor, Agate. Additionally, Aveline spent a disappointing amount of time in the Louisiana Bayou, consorting with smugglers of the lowest kind.
Oh, I try never to think.
Which we felt risked her appeal to our female audience, which is now approaching 50%. However, as Aveline matured, a new side emerged. A well-mannered and considerate lady of poise and compassion. Aveline came to embrace a new mentor, her stepmother, Madeleine Delisle, a tireless fighter for the rights of slaves.
Thank you, Madeleine.
With some
like, but she's a
editing to
Templar, isn't
prioritize
she?
this relationship, we feel Aveline's story will more than meet our needs. Our team recommends a go on this property. Get this one to market quickly.
Oh, because it's the first person to actually go along with, like, someone that's a Templar. Okay. Stuff like that, so it's so interesting that it's like, once you've played enough, you can see how obvious the, like, we're doing this because it's beneficial for us, as opposed to, like, actually pushing forward. I was like, and they genuinely did such a good job of writing stuff like this. Like, because it 100% makes sense, like, that's what you would expect from, you know, the Templars, like, internal, or I guess Abstergo's internal board, right? It is crazy how, like, genuinely good of a job they've done with a lot of this stuff. Yay! See, so far every time I was like, we've not really had almost any problem figuring out how to do this. Subject 0 again.
Surrogate Initiative, Test Session 32. January 11th, 1981. Host Eileen Bach. DNA sample SB1970.
Miriam?
been worried sick.
Basil, how did they find you? Oh, Jesus, what would they do to you?
Has they hurt you at all?
I told them nothing. All they do every day is ask about you and that artifact. But I didn't tell them anything. Nothing.
I know you didn't, Miriam. But how are you? You aren't hurt?
Not badly, no. I'm fine.
Good. We need to get the message out to Oscar. Somehow. We need to tell him where...
Very interesting footage, Eileen. This is Germany, you said. World War II?
Most of the memories I've been able to access come from a period where Miriam was imprisoned by Nazis in Cologne.
Miriam. Is she still alive?
No, she was my ex-husband's mother. She passed away about 5 years ago.
Well, she was spirited. An impressive lady.
Definitely.
And the man, Bartle. He made reference to an artifact. Any idea what that is?
My team is looking into that, but it's not our first priority. We still need...
It is now.
Really?
You must have other recordings of this woman. Are there any other mentions of this artifact I should know about?
Half a dozen or so, yes. What's this about?
You have questions, I understand that. I don't have answers for you. Not right now, but I do have money. And if you get me those recordings and bring me any other artifact references you find, then I will triple your operating budget for as long as I can.
Triple my budget? My God, what is this?
9 a.m. Monday morning, my office. We have a lot to discuss.
But Lillian, I don't...
Have a good weekend, Mrs. Bach. Fantastic work.
Hello, this is Carl.
Hi, it's Eileen.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Busy. Cold. The winter's been terrible.
Seamus won't like that. The weather's been mild out here.
Well, he's only coming for a month. He'll live. And I'll be so busy he won't have to worry about his mother bothering him.
Still working 12-hour days.
I should move a bed into my lab.
Look, if you're too busy, Seamus can stay with me.
No, I want to see him. We'll have fun.
You're not too busy to be a mom and a genius.
Of course not.
His flight lands at 8:15 p.m. tomorrow night. You'll be there?
Of course. 8:15
p.m. Let him know you'll be there.
Thanks, Carl. I need to run. I'm sorry. Take care.
You too.
Uh-oh. Something tells me that doesn't play out all that well.
Ah, Eileen. Didn't see you come in.
I'm not interrupting?
No, it's fine. The subject is unconscious. He's traipsing around 18th century New Orleans right now, in the memories of a woman.
That must feel odd. How long has he been under?
83 minutes.
Whoa.
It's average. What can I do for you?
I just wanted to thank you for sending Lillian to see me. She came away very impressed.
There. You see, all these bureaucrats need is a little glimpse of our secrets every so often. They like to feel like they're still in charge.
Lillian is most definitely in charge. She just tripled my budget.
Tripled? Christ, Eileen. You must have discovered who killed Kennedy.
Well, she heard something on one of my tapes that interested her. Something about an artifact. Very vague, but it was enough.
An artifact? What sort of artifact? Jesus, get him out of there! Get him out!
Oh my God.
It'll kill him! He's not decoupled! He's having a fucking seizure! Power down! Now! Heart rate 170! Power down! Now!
Well... that doesn't sound good at all.
Eileen, Warren here. I was all ready to apologize for the late call, but you seem to be away. Maybe with your son. Listen. Since the unfortunate incident with Subject 1, there's been a lot of dire talk around the office about my Animus project. About shutting it down. About it being unsafe. Typical top brass bullshit. And if they shut me down, then your surrogate initiative goes away too. I'm sure you're already well aware of that. Well, let me be the first to reassure you. This will not happen. I will not let them take this from me. From us. I will not let one death of an undiagnosed epileptic, I should add. I will not let this destroy the decades of incredible research done by our predecessors. And the 5 years I've spent perfecting the Animus. there's still more work to be done, and countless rewards to be reaped. So I wanted you to be the first to know. I have decided to volunteer myself as my second subject. I am convinced that the Animus is perfectly safe, provided I stay within the boundaries of my own ancestral bloodline. Next week, I plan to prove this by staying a full 4 hours in the Animus. I would be grateful if you and your team would monitor my progress. And after this necessary but ridiculous proof of concept, I give you my word that I will work closely with you to solve your outstanding problems. Your surrogate initiative is a bold idea, and I do believe it is the future of the Animus Project. But while we have the Animus itself, I do not want to waste precious opportunities to prove its safety. I'll see you in the office on Monday. Goodbye.
Wow. So, the person that they use for liberation dies, and then Vidic proves that it is safe and uses his influence to help Eileen as like a bargaining chip for her to help him, because they're sadly very connected. And that's all the stuff that ends up leading to her death eventually. There's just so much to process at any given time in this. We're gonna run over here first, because there's one in there. Which means we get to actually hack into Olivier's computer. So we'll pop over here. We'll take this. So we have one more sticky note somewhere. Which I don't know where I actually would be missing that. And so that's one that we've done. This one is here. It's just kind of fun because, like, again, it's a lot to take in. But the last time that I enjoyed listening to all the lore like this was Metal Gear Solid 5. It was like, if you want to talk about a game that has a really fun time with just giving you a lot of lore to go through, it's The Phantom Pain. Ah, son of a... Look over here, do this, bang, cool. Alright. Oh god, nope. Okay, cool. That timing just constantly seems so wrong. Nope. Please. Okay, so we go boom, boom. Jump over here. Alright, and yep, that's gonna get us killed. Okay. Jump into this big gap. Cool. Good. Bang. Okay. Also, there's somewhere that I'm missing then, because after this, we're gonna have one sticky note and one more computer to hack. Suave, debonair, and clever, Hatham Kenway was a hero for a generation of men desperate for a decisive and charismatic leader. Slain by the ungrateful son who would not appreciate the wisdom of his pragmatic, race-blind approach to politics and personal life, Kenway's tenure as Grand Master of the colonial rite ended abruptly in 1781. Let's see. So... Oh, so I do have one more sticky note down here that I was missing. And where's the other computer that I need? Unless it's a camera that I didn't do, but I'm pretty sure I did everything. Okay. Yeah, so we need to come back up here. So there's one more sticky note in the basement. Oh, it's not actually the CEO's. Oh, that's right, because we've already hacked his computer. It's the receptionist's computer that we haven't hacked. Okay. First try! Just like every other one so far. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Chapter 3. She was in the Old Chalet, a tavern halfway between Hatherton and Bristol, a regular haunt of mine, and sometimes in the summer when mother and father toiled over the shearing at home, when I'd have to make more regular trips into town, and sometimes than several a day. I admit I hadn't taken much notice of her at first, which is unusual for me because I like to pride myself in knowing the exact location of the pretty women near about, and besides, the chalet wasn't exactly the sort of place you expected to find a pretty woman. A woman, yes, a certain type of woman. This girl, I could see, wasn't like that. She was young, about my age, and she wore a white linen coif and a smock. Looked to me like a domestic. What made me aware of her wasn't her clothes, it was the loudness of her voice, which was quite in contrast to the way she looked. She was sitting with 3 men, all of them older than her, who I recognized at once. Tom Cobley, his brother Seth, and Julian, somebody whose surname escaped me. But who worked with them? 3 men with whom I had traded words and not blows before. The kind who looked down their noses at me because they thought I looked down my nose at them. Who liked me no more than I liked them, which was not a lot. They were sat forward on their stools and watching this young girl with leering, wolfish eyes that betrayed a darker purpose. Even though they were all smiles, banging on the table and encouraging her as she drank dry a flagon of ale. No, she did not look like one of the women who usually frequented the tavern, but it seemed that she was determined to act like one of them. The flagon was about as big as she was, and as she wiped her hand across her mouth and banged it to the table, the men responded with cheers, shouting for another one, and no doubt pleased to see her wobble slightly on her stool. Probably couldn't believe their luck, pretty little thing like that. I watched as they let the girl drink yet more ale with the same tumult accompanying her success, and then as she did the same as before and wiped her hand across her mouth, but with an even more pronounced wobble this time, a look passed between them. A look seemed to say, the job is done. Tom and Julian stood, and they began, in their words, to escort her to the door, because you've had too much to drink, my lovely. Let's get you home, shall we? To bed, smirked Seth, thinking he was saying it under his breath, even though the whole tavern heard him. Let's be getting you to bed. Passed a look to the barman, who dropped his eyes and used his apron to blow his nose. A customer sat down the bar from me, turned away as I peeled to him with my eyes. Bastards. Might as well have looked to the cat for help, I thought. Then with a sigh, banged down my tankard, stepped off my stool, and followed the Cobleys into the road outside. I blinked, and as I stepped from the darkness of the tavern into bright sunlight, my cart was there, roasting in the sun, beside it another one that I took to belong to the Cobleys. On the other side of the road was a yard with a house set far back, but no sign of a farmer. We were alone on the highway, just me, 2 Cobley brothers, Julian, and the girl, of course. Well, Tom Cobley, I said, the things you see on a fine afternoon. Why, just you and your cronies are getting drunk and getting a poor, defenseless young woman even drunker. The girl sagged as Tom Copley let go of her arm and turned to address me, his finger already raised. Now just you stay out of this, Edward Kenway, you young good-for-nothing. You're as drunk as I am, and your morals just as loose. I don't need to be given a talking to by the likes of you. Seth and Julian had turned to me as well. The girl was glazed over, like her mind had turned in for the night, even if her body was still awake. Well, I smiled. Loose morals as I might have, Tom Copley, but I don't need to pour ale down a girl's throat before taking her to bed. And I certainly don't need 2 friends to help me at the task. Tom Copley reddened. Why, you cheeky little bastard. I'm gonna put her on my cart is what I'm gonna do and take her home. I have no doubt you intend to put her on your cart and take her home. It's what you plan on doing, or plan to doing between putting her on the cart and reaching home that concerns me. That concerns you, does it? A broken nose and a couple of broken ribs will be concerning you unless you mind your own bloody business. Squinting, I glanced at the highway where trees bordering the dirt track shone gold and green in the sun. In the distance was a lone figure on a horse, shimmering and indistinct. I took a step forward, and if there had been any warmth or humor in my manner, then it disappeared now, almost of its own accord. There was a steeliness in my voice when I next spoke. Now, you just leave that girl alone, Tom Copley, or I won't be responsible for my actions. The 3 men looked at one another. In a way, they'd done as I asked. They'd let go of the girl, and she seemed almost relieved to slide to her haunches, placing one hand on the ground and looking at us with bleary eyes, evidently oblivious to all that was being discussed on her behalf. Meanwhile, I looked at the Cobleys and weighed up the odds. Have you ever fought 3 at once? Well, no, because if you were fighting 3 at once, you weren't so as much fighting, you were getting beaten up. But come on, Edward Kenway, I told myself. Yes, on the one hand, it was 3 men, but one of them was Tom Copley, who was no spring chicken, but my father's age. Another one was Seth Copley, who was Tom Copley's son, and if you can imagine the kind of person who would help his father get a young girl drunk, well, you can imagine the sort of person Seth Copley was. Which was to say a maggoty underhand type, more likely to run away from a fight with wet breeches than stand his ground, and what's more, they were drunk. On the other hand, I was drunk too, plus they had Julian who, going on looks alone, which is all I had, could handle himself. I had another idea. The lone rider I could see in the distance, if I could just hold off the Cobleys till he arrived, the odds were they'd likely shift back in my favor. After all, if he was of good character, the lone rider was bound to stop and help me out. Well, Tom Copley, I said, you got the advantage over me, that's obvious for anyone to see, but, you know, I wouldn't just be able to look my mother in the eye knowing I'd let your cronies abduct this pretty young thing. Glanced up to the road where the lone rider was getting closer. Come on then, I thought, don't hang about. So, I continued, even if you end up leaving me in a bloody heap by the side of the road and carry the young lassie off anyway, I'm gonna have to do all that I can to make it as difficult for you as possible, and perhaps see to it that you go on your way with a black eye and maybe a pair of throbbing bullocks for your troubles. Tom Copley spat, then gazed at me through wizened, slitty eyes. Well, are you just gonna stand there talking about it all day, Edward Kenway, or are you going to attend to your task? Because time waits for no man, he grinned an evil grin. I've got people to see, things to do. Aye, that's right. The longer you leave it, the more chance that poor lassie has a sobering up, eh? I don't mind telling you, I'm getting tired of all this talk anyway. He turned to Julian. How about we teach this little bastard a lesson? Oh, and one more thing before we start, Master Kenway. You ain't fit to shine your mother's shoes, you understand? That hit me hard, I don't mind admitting. Having someone like Tom Copley, who had all morals of a frothing dog, about half the intelligence, able to reach into my soul, and if my guilt was an open wound, then stick his thumb in the open wound and cause even more pain. Well, it certainly firmed up my resolve, if nothing else. Julian pushed his chest forward with a snarl, advanced. 2 steps away from me, raised his fist, dipped his right shoulder and swung, and I don't know who Julian was supposed to be, or was used to fighting outside taverns, but somebody with less experience than me for sure. Very taken note of the fact that he was right-handed and he could have made his intentions more obvious if he tried. The dirt rose in clouds around my feet as I dodged easily and brought my own right up sharply. He shouted in pain as I caught him under the jaw, and if it had just been him, the battle would have been won. Tom Copley was already upon me. I just saw him out of the corner of my eye and was too late to react and was dazed by a fist that slammed in my temple. Staggered slightly as I turned to meet the attack, and my fists were swinging much more wildly than I'd have liked. I was hoping to land a lucky blow, needing to put at least one of the men down to even up the numbers, but none of my punches made contact as Tom Cobley retreated. Plus, Julian recovered my first punch with alarming speed and now came at me again. He swung, and his right hand connected with my chin, spinning me about so I almost lost my balance. My hat fell off, my hair was in my eyes, and I was in disarray. Guess who came with his boots kicking? The worm Seth Cobley, shouting encouragement to his father and Julian at the same time. The little bastard was lucky. His boot caught me in the midriff, and already off balance, I lost my footing and fell. The worst thing you can do in a fight against 3 men is fall. Once you fall, it's over. Through their legs, I saw the lone rider up the highway, now my only chance of salvation, possibly my only hope of getting out of this alive. What I saw made my heart sink. Not a man on a horse, a tradesman who would dismount and come rushing to my aid. No, the lone rider was a woman. She was riding astride the horse, not side saddle, but even though was a lady. She wore a bonnet and a light-colored summery dress, and the last thing I thought of before the Cobley's boots obscured my view and the kicks came in was that she was beautiful. But beauty wasn't going to save me now. "Hey," I heard. "You 3 men, stop what you're doing right now." I turned to look at her and remove their hats, shuffling in line to hide the sight of me, who lay coughing on the ground. "What's going on here?" she demanded to know. From the sound of her voice, I could tell she was young and, while not highly born, definitely well-bred. Too well-bred, surely, to be riding unaccompanied? "We were just teaching this young man here some manners," rasped Tom Cobley out of breath. Exhausting business it was, kicking me half to death. "We're just, well, it doesn't take 3 of you to do that, does it?" she replied. I could see her now, twice as beautiful as I'd first thought as she glowered at the Cobleys, who for their part looked thoroughly mollified. She dismounted, more to the point. "What are you doing with this young lady here?" pointing at the girl who sat dazed and drunk on the ground. "Oh man, this young friend of ours has too much to drink." The lady darkened. "She's most certainly not your young friend. She is a maidservant. If I don't get her back home before my mother discovers she's absconded, then she will be an unemployed maidservant." She looked pointedly from one man to the next. "I know you men, and I think I know exactly what's going on here. Now, you will leave this young man alone and be on your way before I mind you to take this further." With much bowing and scraping, the Cobleys clambered aboard their cart and were soon gone. Meanwhile, the woman dismounted and knelt before me. "My name is Caroline Scott. My family lives on Hawkins Lane in Bristol. Let me take you back there and tend to your wounds." "I cannot, my lady," I said, sitting up and trying to manage a grin. "I have work to do." She said, "I see, and did I assess the situation correctly?" Picked up my hat and began to brush the dirt from it. It was even more battered now. "You did, my lady." "Then I owe my thanks, and so will Rose when she sobers up. She's a willful girl, not always the easiest of staff, but nevertheless, don't want to see her suffer for her impetuousness." She was an angel, I decided then, and as I helped them mount the horse, Caroline holding onto Rose, who lolled drunkenly over the neck of the horse, I had a sudden thought. "Can I see you again, my lady, to thank you properly when I look more presentable, perhaps?" She gave me a regretful look. "I fear my father would not approve," she said, and with that shook the reins and left. That night I sat beneath the thatch of our cottage, staring out over the pastures as the sun went down. Usually, my thoughts would concern either the possibility of escape or wrestling with the inevitability of my future. That night I thought of Caroline Scott of Hawkins Lane. Wow. So that's where he met the girl of his dreams. Let's see. I really am curious as to where I'm missing that last computer. Because I'm pretty sure, because I was like, I had to do that one for the story. I'm pretty sure I've done that one. And then... Also, that's kind of interesting too, that I was like, that I can go all the way to the bottom and then log into the Animus down here as well. Wait, there's 2 computers down here? I'm only at 31 of 33? Oh, you know what? It makes sense that I couldn't get those ones because, they would have had people at them. Okay, that makes more sense as to why I was missing or that's why I was missing more. I was like, I thought I had done a good job, so I was wrong when I said that I had all the ones in the bottom. This one's definitely the most broken. Alright, we need to not just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's not gonna get me anyway. I say as I keep doing the same thing over and over again. God. Yeah. Agent evaluation report for Johanny Abstergo, dated 12/11/08. This would have to have been leaked from within. There's a classified document viewed on our own network. Someone should hang for this. Strengths, experienced, agent's military, special forces background is a definitive asset. Obedient, follows orders without question. Leadership qualities, agent lacks finesse but inspires loyalty in others. Dedicated, agent is wholly committed to our cause. Definite potential, could be IS material. Weaknesses, agent has a young 3-year-old daughter, could be a liability. Other notes, agent is ready to take on greater challenges. Recommend giving agent leadership of responsibilities. Recommend sending agent on a level 5 mission. A dashing photo of our guy. Photo labeled Florence, Italy, 2012, 11:30. Makes it clear we have a leak who survived to transmit this photo. Photo labeled Cairo, Egypt. Okay, and that's the background and stuff. Let's go. My man was part of the Sigma unit. This one's labeled Cairo, Egypt, 2012, 12/12. Sigma team strikes again. The poster claims Abstergo agents kidnap William Miles, but Miles is not pictured. Could be anything. So that's when he gets captured during 3. This updated agent evaluation of Abstergo, dated 12/12/03, confirms leak persisted and perhaps still exists. Updated shrinks demonstrate a great deal of courage, initiative, resourcefulness, and dedication. Updated weaknesses. Distinguishing mark, facial scar, burn. Reparative surgery should be considered. Following assassin attack of 21/12/11/28. 21/12. See attached security report. Agent tracked down the enemy located the Florence hideout. Agent led Sigma strike team against the Florence assassins, responsible for the termination of 3 assassins. Survived assassin ambush. Agent should not be held accountable for the loss of his team. So that's 33 of 33, then what's this one? It's actually 34? Or is this just gonna give me something unrelated? Or maybe the counter's wrong? I also would be curious to know too if like each machine that you hack has a specific thing, or And the last Subject 0 audio
Surrogate
file.
Initiative, Test Session 27, October 21st, 1980. Host Eileen Bach. DNA sample SB1970.
Miriam. There's no good reason for you to be here. But your intransigence requires that I detain you until you give me information I can act upon. The location of the artifact, perhaps, or the whereabouts of your leader, Bartle Shink. Just a little something to give Minister Goebbels some encouragement that we are on the right track.
How about a nice hug? He looks so sad in all his photographs.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? Perhaps you could pay him a visit yourself. He likes beautiful women, actresses, musicians.
Pirates?
That's right, pirates. Pirates of the Edelweiss. Isn't that what you kids call yourselves? It's very amusing. And illegal, of course.
Breaking Hitler's laws is half the fun.
Oh, I imagine so. I imagine you were having a wonderful time just before we captured you and your insurgent friends.
And that's the end of it.
Damn it. Why can't we sustain the signal for more than just a few minutes? I need to relax.
That's not the issue. This is dangerous work. These memories aren't in your bloodline. That's why it's not holding.
There's got to be a solution.
Any idea what they mean by the artifact? I've heard it a few times now.
Not sure. I don't think Miriam knew either. Not much comes into her mind when she asks about it.
But she's protecting the other members of her group, the Edelweiss Pirates or something?
Yeah. Bartol Shink. Have we looked him up?
No, we can.
We should. Put your intern on it.
Right. High priority.
Yeah. This isn't getting any easier. Jesus.
Hello?
Hi, Seamus. It's Mom.
Hey.
How are you?
Dad! It's Mom!
Hello, Eileen.
Hi, Carl. How's Seamus?
Great. We were out shopping for school clothes.
Yeah. The summer just sped by.
They all do.
I never seem to notice. No windows in the office.
Right. Trapped in a lab. So, did you need to talk?
Yes, sorry. I was curious about your mother, actually.
Oh. Okay.
How much did she talk about the war when you were growing up?
Not often. Bits and pieces. Why?
I was doing some research last week about World War II, and something came up about the Edelweiss Pirates, or the Navajos, and your mother's name popped up.
Really? That's an odd coincidence.
Does any of that ring a bell?
Yeah. Mom ran with that group while the war was on. There were a group of kids who wanted to avoid the Hitler Youth programs, but in later years they escalated their activities to, bigger ideas like vandalism and sabotage.
But why Navajos and pirates?
Just some of the names they used. Navajos, Edelweiss Pirates, you know, kids. There were little pins, little white flowers. I may still have hers.
That's interesting.
And this is for work? Researching my mother?
Not exactly, but... Sorry, I can't talk about it.
Right. You never could.
Hey, don't. I didn't mean to be flippant.
No. Don't mind me. All for the greater good.
I like to think so.
Power down. You all right?
Damn it! 5 months of this bullshit! We're floundering.
Take it easy, Eileen. You're just stressed.
I am not stressed. I'm frustrated. I'd like to go again this afternoon.
No. There is no reason to rush this.
We're hardly rushing. We're running into the same wall over and over again. Why can't we push through? Why can't you keep me in the Animus longer than 2 minutes?
Because surrogate genetic memory data is fragile. The EEG is exploding and your brain is doing too much work. The longer you stay in, the more damage it does. It's even possible that...
Possible that?
It's possible the memories we're digging into could eventually overwrite your own. Like information on a tape drive. There's just not enough space in your head to do both.
Here I come to save the day.
God.
Good afternoon, all.
Did you invite him?
No, but you did. Remember?
That was months ago, Warren. What do you need?
I wanted to stop by. check on your progress.
Well, apparently it's still too dangerous to keep me under for more than a few minutes.
I always suspected that would be your biggest hurdle. The genetic memory sequencing is the easy part, if time-consuming. But the replay, that's something else.
Yes?
Let's think this through. My subjects are diving into their own genetic memories, so the information is already encoded in their heads.
Which means the Animus has less work to do. Less computing, less parsing.
Right. So to get your surrogate data working, to let people experience foreign memories, it'll take a hell of a lot more processing power than anyone has. Even Abstergo Industries.
Ideally, we'd like to build an external processor that mirrors as many brain functions as possible. Something to handle the calculations.
But the cost and upkeep of that would be
astronomical. Let me see what I can do. I have some sway with Lillian. We won't build Rome in a day, but if we focus on the pretty buildings first, maybe we'll achieve something.
Thank you, Warren.
Till next, folks.
Okay. Alright, so that should, I think, be everything in the real world. Which means that I do want to come over here. We're now going to read all the notes. Alright. Manifesto, the instruments of the first will writ by a true disciple this day, 21st October 2013, in anticipation of the anniversary of her ascension, may she guide us into the gray. Being that life is both sacred and profane, priceless and worthless, fleeting and eternal, we submit. Being that life can be as easily construed from primordial swamps as from a stinking petri dish, we submit. Being that those who came before imbued us with life and may remove it as readily should we defy or deny the original plan, we submit. Being that it is well understood that tools, homes, cars, cutlery, pencils, tables, books, chairs, domesticated animals, light bulbs, mobile phones, sex toys, vacations, homes, sofa, lounge chairs, swimming pools, and etc., maybe, are indirect byproducts of our own genotypic expressions, otherwise known as extended phenotypes, we submit. It was in the 17th and 18th century the world became an indecent place rent of its original purpose during the ages of industrial revolutions. Here it was the machines of industry we unleashed in such grand quantities quite without understanding them unwound motives and purposes of their own as inert as they were. The machines we made shaped us in turn and took hold of our impulses and our minds, small as they are, and gripped us like an iron maiden bleeding us empty. It was our poor understanding of our origins that led us to originate tools we were incapable of understanding or controlling. As if the cotton gin was not enough, and one day our sweaters and undershirts might talk to us, as if this were not enough. Take for instance gunpowder, which gave us great mastery over fire. Take for instance the daguerreotype, which warped our way of seeing true life. Take the light bulb that gave us light when none was necessary. Take the automobile that sped us along at velocities capable of only killing us in new and silly ways. Take the cinema which gave us lies, as a man once said, 24 times per second. Take the phonograph which preserved noises which ought to be ephemeral. Take the television which is obviously stupid. Take video games which are secretly stupid, and you'll all know you wish there was more pornography. You know you do. Take saturated fats and high fructose corn syrups, which poison us, and soy, which has been known to make men into women. Take computers which count so fast we cannot keep up, nor should we, for we are an imperfect race of disgusting shells of tissue and bone and incomplete in and of ourselves. We must have masters to survive. We must admit our masters, admit them and submit to them. Yes, we submit that by being ourselves the product of an advanced yet earthbound race of intelligent humanoids, we must also therefore be tools ourselves and subject to the intents and purposes of our creators despite our limited agency. Yes, we submit that there are such tools and as such have a purpose befitting a tool. We submit we are like hammers and wrenches and shovels made for a specific purpose, not our own. We submit that our purpose is indivisible from the will of those who came before. We submit ourselves and our bodies and our minds utterly. Remember that our relentless, impertinent, hollow drive to achieve everything our forebears did has led to many embarrassments and disasters: nuclear weapons, superviruses, genetically modified poison food, toxic air, plastic, sea-rack, and sea spawn, and the list goes on. You can look it up for yourselves on the internet, but all this too had a secret purpose in the end. Today, Abstergo Templar frauds have given themselves to base practices and claim wrongly that men and women are delicate and sensible and feeling creatures and of themselves, and therefore deserve safety and comfort and mindlessness in the presence of pleasure. Nothing could be sicker, falser, or disgusting lying bastards. Our purpose is not ours to achieve, but ours to be received by her graces and instruction. Death to the false fabricators of pleasure and indolence. The old order must be restored and the new order destroyed. True Templars dedicated to order and stability and peace through the application of her iron will, and not through the doling satisfactions of pleasure and indolence. The new order is a disease, and Juno, may she guide us into the gray, will be our cure. Remember this. Remember that it was in the 18th century, slipping into the next, that the sickness took hold and men began to believe they were a part and individual of the original plan. Men shunned the plan, called us slaves when we were only fulfilling our duty. The revolutions in America and France bled into evolutions and into more revolutions, into Russia and Mexico and India, and the sickening list goes on as men and women fought and died for the right to be indolent and sick and pleasured. But she, may she guide us into the gray, has returned after a sleep of tens of thousands of millennia, and we submit to live and work at her side. We, the instruments of the first will. Remember that our relentless, impertinent, hollow drive to achieve everything our forebears did has led to many embarrassments and disasters: nuclear weapons, superviruses, genetically modified poison food, toxic air, plastic sea-rack, and sea spawn, and the list goes on. You can look for an internet on your... But this too had a secret purpose in the end. This one repeat? Huh. As our tools are genetic expressions of our mental cultural activity, and as we are expressions of their mental cultural activity, and must necessarily follow this world as it is now, and as it ever will be, as an expression of the first will, an expression of their labors, and thus belongs not to us but to them. The wires and the cables, the data networks that now crisscross the globe are hers. They must become her body and her mind. What she once wrought hath wrought anew and will resurrect her into a new form. Beautiful, 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 yes. The world and all its digital technology is now an expression of her life, and her work began over 80,000 years ago, and now she has come to reclaim them. She, beloved, beautiful Juno, may she guide us into the gray. Into the gray, the digital frontier, the singularity, the space in which she dwells, being both made of light and the embodiment of darkness. This we call the gray, being that we are the instruments of her will, instruments of the first will, the original will. We submit this credo to the world. We submit ourselves to the eternal servitude and service of a grander fulfillment. We submit the world to itself, it being a product that feeds life to life and death to death. May she, mother, sister, wife, lover, friend, bring light to the darkened minds and humility to those who succor for its wisdom. Guide us into the gray, beloved, guide us. Manifesto of the Instruments of the First Will. Okay. And so the sticky notes, I was like, my guess would be that John, quote unquote, left him. Much thanks for your hard work, friend. We know it wasn't easy, it hasn't been for us either. Losing Desmond was a terrible blow, and we needed the last year to get back on our feet. But we're standing and ready to jump. Everything you require here, everything you send us will be useful in some way. Don't wonder about that. So for now, keep your head down and your eyes on the task ahead. We may be calling soon. We hope you'll be ready. All the best, Bill. Okay. Alright. And... that's so funny that they have pictures of them, and then Sean is literally still in the coffee shop. Like, nobody's noticed at all? Nobody's been like, maybe that's the guy that we're looking for? It's like, wow, who would have thought? But anyway, so after 2 hours of doing more lore stuff, I'm gonna call it there. So if you took the time to listen to the I guess the not stream, but the last little bit of the wrap-up of lore. Hopefully enjoyed. I think that everything in this is just extremely, extremely interesting. And I had a lot of fun just kind of getting to explore everything and figure it out, and I'm glad that they give you a lot of stuff to do even technically post-game, so.
They don't make these rules for no reason.
Yeah.
Ending it off where we began, I'm going to say goodbye to Sean and see where he takes us in the next one, so. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that fun jazz, and I will see you in the next one.